your AccuWeather forecast. I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
From local sports to national newsmakers, this is the show everybody is talking about. On the Granite State and the Haas on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Good morning and welcome to the Mike and the Haas Show, powered by the MM Shop on the Pulse of New Hampshire. I'm Mike Dene, and alongside Charlie Hossack, we are Mike and the Haas. Dog, you know that was off a little bit. Dog didn't give me the point as he's done every day for the last year and a half. So I didn't know if he was waiting for a little bit more music to play. I just threw the timing off.
It's good. Well, you know what? The behind-the-scenes stuff, we should have. It's too bad we don't have like a live stream on us at all times. Of course, I always have tech issues, and Mike always comes to my rescue. I mean, less than 2 minutes ago, you were in my room figuring out my speakers, so I appreciate you.
It serves us right for not doing a sound check, 10 minutes beforehand, just thinking we're all cocky and we're just going to turn on the computer and go. Yeah. Whereas before we used to do 15 minutes before we did a sound check, and I think we're getting a little loose, and we probably should tighten this ship up a little bit.
Tighten it up, yeah. So we'll start.
We're already not pointing when it's time to go, so we're getting a little loose on Dog's end too. So I don't know when to start the show. So,
that's great. How are you guys? How's everybody doing?
I'm doing great. Dog, how you doing?
Toronto Blue Jays, 3 more, baby, 3 more.
Not happening. Not happening.
What a great game one, though. What a good way to start the World Series.
Well, I think it was a good way to start the World Series. At least it makes the games relevant. I think if the Dodgers go on and win big last night, then people are going to, rightfully so, think that this thing's over. At least now it probably ups the interest level a little bit. I still think that it's going to be Dodgers in 6, but at least I mean, they still got their 2 best pitchers that they haven't thrown yet, and Blake Snell's good and all that stuff. But you got Ohtani and Yamamoto, and it's just I think that's what's going to end up happening. But Ohtani hit another home run last night.
Yeah, to be expected, right? So,
but that was certainly not the biggest story of the week. The bomb that dropped this week on the NBA is what we're going to talk about a lot today, and moving it into betting. And we're going to, our poll question of the week is going to be talking about betting. But that was an absolute nuclear bomb that was dropped on the NBA this week, and
the timing, so interesting. I mean, they did it right as the season started, and after that long investigation. And here's the thing, and I know we're going to get into this, but my worry is that this is going to percolate through other sports, not just the NBA. And we've been talking about this. I mean, heck, we've been talking about this for the past 6 months, gambling and sports betting and all that stuff. And my goodness, here it is.
Well, baseball this summer. Ohtani. Just Ohtani last year. So it seems to be becoming more and more prevalent, unfortunately. And then I guess coincidentally, ironically, Pete Rose is back on the ballot. Go figure. So I guess we can start dissecting that for the 84th time on our show.
I wonder if my opinion's going to change. Nope.
Well, I don't know. Are you going to put Chauncey Billups on the Chauncey Billups is in the Hall of Fame.
He's already
I know.
So,
all right. Well, let's get started, because I certainly want to get into those things. The Celtics start too, which is I don't think it's flying under the radar. The Bruins struggling, but you do have a New England team that is rolling right now. So that is good.
It is.
All right. Mike and the Haas is powered by the MM Shop, located in the heart of downtown Wolfboro. It can be found on the Pulse of New Hampshire radio stations all over the world on the Pulse of New Hampshire app. You can always catch up and listen to our previous shows on the Pulse Podcast Network, Spreaker, Audible, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. The Yum Yum Shop has over 100 varieties of fresh baked goods, including 6 different types of bread and a full-service ice cream bar, and, of course, their most famous item, the gingerbread cookie. Make sure to visit the Yum Yum Shop the next time you're in Wolfboro or online at yummyumshop.com. And while you're there, enter the discount code of Mike and the Haas to receive 20% off a Gingy Box. You can join our conversation, 603-228-2080. That is 603-228-2080. And we want to thank the Heinz Group of Philadelphia and London for sponsoring our Facebook Live and YouTube Live feeds. All right. Charlie, let's get into opening takes. We wanted to do your opening take first, just so we could spend the rest of the time, because I'm certainly gonna focus on the gambling thing. So, opening takes brought to you by the Back Bay Boathouse.
Where you can enjoy delicious food and drinks right next to the lake. Don't forget to order the $5 Mike in the Hoss penalty box during happy hour, Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. That's the Back Bay Boathouse. As Mike said, if you want to call and join the show, 603-228-2080. That's 603-228-2080. So my opening take, actually, we're going to start positive because the show is not going to necessarily remain positive. But really, my opening take is you can still find good in this world. And, we focus often on a lot of the negativity that is happening in the sports world, sometimes going into the political world. But let's talk about something positive that has happened. Now, this happened back in February of 2025, and it was really it only came really to the media the past couple of weeks of October. They kind of wanted to keep it hush hush, but I'm glad that this didn't stay hush hush. The Academy of Classical Christian Studies, they're a girls basketball team in Oklahoma. What they did is they actually returned the championship trophy to rival Apache High School. And what happened was the coach realized there was a scoring error during the game, which gave the Classical Christian Academy team a win by 1 point. The good deed came to light, obviously, just the past couple of weeks ago. And here's the breakdown of what happened. In the final minutes, there was a scoreboard error. And there was a 3-point basket that had only been scored as a 2-point basket. So what ended up happening was the coach, Brendan King is his name, when he was reviewing the game footage, he's the coach for the Academy of Classical Christian Studies, he realized the mistake, the scoreboard mistake. And the team kind of brought it to their version of the NHIAA, so the Oklahoma Interscholastic Athletic High School, whatever I'm trying to say, their high school, whoever oversees their high school stuff in Oklahoma, brought it to them, and they actually said, "There's nothing you can do. The game has been finalized. The championship has been given. No change can be made." So the coach actually brought it back to the players and said, "Here's the situation." So they filed an appeal, and the appeal went through the appeal process, and the high school won the appeal, so that they could actually present the trophy and the championship to the rightful winners, the Apache High School girls basketball team, which I think that's absolutely amazing. That, first of all, a couple things. Oklahoma saying you can't change this; it's already official. I mean, that's bogus. It was an error. There was an error, and then the fact that the academy went ahead and said, we're filing an appeal. That we're not the rightful winners. And the girls, it was interesting. They interviewed the girls on the team. They interviewed the coaches and said, it was the right thing to do. We truly didn't win the game. So those that played and won the game should get the trophy and should get the recognition. So obviously the academy is recognized for its integrity, its sportsmanship, and the fact that they beat the government. I like this. They beat the government system, saying, you know what? Yeah, we can appeal this and we can win. And it's the right thing to do. They did the right thing. So kudos to both teams, the Apache High School, who are now the champions. And then of course the Academy of Classical Christian Studies High School, and this is in Oklahoma. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'll start with saying good for them.
Yeah.
And I think I could see it happening. Basketball scoring is 2 points, 1 point, 3 points, 2 points, 1 point, 3 points, and it's happening throughout the game.
Yeah.
And I know at the high school level, we see all the time, hey, you forgot to put up the 2 points, or and there's a book, but it's not as official as a baseball book. It's they really are leaning on the score clock for everything, for the possessions, for the shot clock, for everything's coming off of that score clock. So I could see it happening. I think kudos for them. And I would say basketball probably needs some sort of something a little bit more of like an official score other than the score clock, just to make sure that they're keeping track of these things. If both teams are saying that there was a mistake made, I don't understand why the Oklahoma Athletic Association would not correct it. That's I guess you know,
And
that's my only take on it.
they were forced to, but they were forced through the appeals process. I mean, it just seems
Yeah.
ridiculous. I mean, it just seems like that's a little too much government oversight with that piece. The thing is, it's interesting you say this, Mike, because even at the NBA level, you see some scoreboard errors, but you always see it. Once the play stops, the officials will come over, they'll review things, they'll say, no, that was a 3-point shot, not a 2-point shot. And I get it, especially in a high school game. The referee will put up his hands for a 3-point shot. And if the scorekeeper misses it and knows there was a bucket, so there's certainly errors that do happen. Dog, what are your thoughts?
The appeals process can work, and this proved it right here. And also, to your point, Mike, with the score clock, it's like the ultimate judgment call. I mean, you got to get it right, but I mean, there's going to be times where you don't get it right. And this is an error that they were able to correct.
Yeah, and the other thing, going back to this, I mean, there was nobody pointed their fingers at the scorekeeper, the scoreboard operator. I mean, accidents happen. It wasn't. It was a big deal, but it wasn't that big. We know that happens. He hit the wrong button or whatever, and it wasn't an attack on the scoreboard operator. It was just like, hey, there was a mistake. We're gonna fix the mistake, and I think that's great.
Yeah, and I would say when the mistake, there just needs to be some oversight on the scoreboard clock. Not that they did anything nefarious. It's just that another eye on it that keeps track of it. But you're right. Referees during the games, they're always looking up at the clock to see if the basket was scored correctly, but there are also a lot of other things they're going to be doing. So, yeah. And if that happened in an NBA game right now, I think a little bit of suspicion would be being thrown around of what went on this week in the NBA. And I'll start mine. We're going to continue it obviously after when we get into New Hampshire sports because it's such a big story. But if you head was in a hole this week, you didn't hear about the federal indictments that were brought down on two big people in the NBA, Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups. Related but separate, gambling issues. There was some crossover. Basically, Terry Rozier was accused of fixing games is the wrong word. Fixing his own player props is probably more of a better way to say it. There's a couple games specifically in question, another one that I'm probably going to bring up. And then Chauncey Billups was accused of running illegal poker games that where they were cheating and the mafia was involved, which is a whole wild story, which we'll break down. So we'll break these down when we come back from break. This is Mike and Hoss.
Your home for news, talk, and information. This is 107.7 WTPL.
Is it okay for me to speak?
I don't know. Dog, is it okay for Charlie to speak?
Mike, what I wanted to do just quickly, could I just quickly read the PSA real fast?
As long as it's
Super
really
quick.
fast.
I promise. And then we're doing New Hampshire sports.
Read that too.
Okay. I'll make it quick. I'm already upset with you. Stop.
Dude, you were snorting your nasal stuff before. I can eat my peanuts.
Okay.
Or by calling us directly at 603-433-4192. Thank you.
Coming up at noon, we talk tech with Kim Commander. In the meantime, we're back to Mike and the Haas on the pulse of New Hampshire. Mike and the Haas on the radio.
603-228-2080. I want to get into this gambling stuff. Charlie has a couple reads, though, first, and then we're going to get into it.
All right. I just wanted to remind everybody that October is Mental Health Awareness Month. Please consider supporting the Lakes Region Mental Health Center art auction. Visit our social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, for more information about how to make a bid for the Lakes Region Mental Health Center art auction. New Hampshire Sports is brought to you by Bailey's Bubble. Family-owned and operated Bailey's Bubble in downtown Wolfboro makes and serves the finest ice cream in the state from May through October. If you can't make it to Wolfboro for ice cream, you can still order their hot fudge, panucci, and butterscotch sauces at baileysbubble.com. My favorite, of course, is their homemade hot fudge. When placing your order, don't forget to tell them that Mike and the Haas sent you. And just a reminder, 603-228-2080, 603-228-2080, if you want to get involved with the conversation.
So, when I originally wrote the take about the gambling thing, I was actually coming after ESPN because when the news broke on Thursday, ESPN had nothing. They did not break it. They did not cover the news conference. They did not cover anything. And the reason probably why is that ESPN and the NBA just signed a $76 billion deal to cover each other for the next 10 years. And yeah, I made some comments about the ESPN's not necessarily a news organization anymore. They're more of like a lobbyist. They are in, and we've talked about this before with the gambling organizations of DraftKings and FanDuel, that they're in connection with these leagues, which is obviously part of the problem. I'll leave the ESPN part of this because ESPN did, because I think through public pressure, they did start carrying it on Friday. They started carrying a lot more of this, even though it was in a very vanilla way. They had to. It's such a huge story because this goes to the heart of competitive athletics. About, are these games being played on the up and up? Can you trust that the outcomes of these games are each side, each player, each coach, each team playing it honestly and with, being straight up? So we'll start with Terry Rozier. So Terry Rozier basically was accused of fixing games in terms of his personal prop bets. And if you don't know what a prop bet is, it's just an individual stat line. How many rebounds you get, how many points you're going to get, your assists, and those kinds of things, over-unders, and so on. So individual stat line prop bets. And they focused on a couple games, but one game in particular where there was a massive amount of money that was brought in on the under, different books, 30 bets on the under on his personal prop bets. And sure enough, in the first quarter, he tapped out with a foot injury.
Yes.
And so all of these unders won. And kudos to DraftKings, kudos to FanDuel and all these other, sports books brought it to the attention of the league. And so the investigation really started back in 2023. The NBA cleared him, basically saying that we don't have enough information to do this. Well, the feds got involved with it, and the Fed says, yeah, we're going to look into do a little bit more. And
Right.
So they realized that this didn't only happen here. This has been more of a widespread problem, Terry Rozier being at the center of it. And there has been a cloud around Terry Rozier for a long time when it comes to this sort of thing. Back in the 2018, and this has been going around the web quite a bit, back in 2018 in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cavs, Game 7, Terry Rozier, I don't know if you remember, was playing lights out up until Game 7. absolutely lights out in that series. He really got the Celtics to Game 7. He was the best player for the Celtics. This is when they had Tatum. This is when they had Brown. But it was Terry Rozier who was really carrying the team at that point. And
Terry.
yeah, he got to Game 7 and put 0 for 10 from 3, 2 for 14 from the field. And there's been a lot of suspicion around the way that he did it. He was clanking balls all over the place. Very non-indicative of how he was playing the previous 6 months.
Right.
Now, most people chalked it up to him choking. Fine. Now that this has come to light, and that they're starting to pull tape from games. I don't know if you saw the tape that they focused on, where he was missing not just missing the net, but he missing the rim and just turnovers. It was just it's incredible. So Terry Rozier is in a little bit of trouble. Then the next part of the story, and the story keeps growing, is, and I forget his name. He was associated with the Lakers, associated with LeBron, that he was giving information to bettors, selling information to bettors based on player availability.
Right.
And which is obviously a big deal in the NBA. Now, the NBA has tried to announce when players are not going to be available. We talked about management days and how we don't like those, but he was able to gain last-minute information specifically around star players, specifically around LeBron, and determine if they're going to be playing or not playing, sell that information to the books, sell that information to bettors, and then, obviously, that changes the lines and so on. Well, actually, it doesn't change the lines. It changes the outcomes of these games.
Right.
So there's another end of the story that seems to be growing because the players that are involved with that this guy was exposing as far as playing and not playing seems to be growing. That circle seems to be growing. And then there's the Chauncey Billups end of it. And Chauncey Billups is accused of organizing and running these illegal poker games that were cheating the players at the games out of millions and millions of dollars. Last number I heard was $7 million.
Wow.
And by using like X-ray machines and glasses and stuff like that so they could see the cards. So not only were the poker games illegal, but they were cheating them. And then the mafia is involved in this one.
Yeah.
So it was working with the mafia. So there's all kinds of things that are coming at the NBA right now. Both the players, Chauncey Billups, who's coaching, he's coaching the Trailblazers, I believe, right? And Terry Rozier is still playing, finishing out a contract with the Heat. Were not released. They were relieved from their teams. They're suspended, I guess, until this stuff because it's such a big deal. I don't know where it's going to go, but I feel like there's 3 separate things that are happening, and they're kind of coming together at once, and none of them put the NBA in a great light. I would say the least one that bothers me is the Chauncey Billups ones in terms of the poker games.
Yeah.
I don't care if a bunch of rich dudes want to have poker in their basement. That doesn't bother me. I think the natural consequence is going to be happening if you're messing with the mafia and you're cheating in poker games that the mafia is involved with. You probably want to get somebody else to start your car or try your food, because that's a really sketchy where to go.
Right.
So, but that's one to me. That's more of about Chauncey Billups. I have a feeling, though, that story's going to grow more into the games, into what did Chauncey Billups do. I know there's one story going out there where he sat his 2 best players and with 3 minutes left in the game, and then all of a sudden they whatever happened on the betting line got to the under, and which didn't make a lot of sense. People were puzzled on why he did that. Yeah. So again, I think there's more stories that are going to be coming out. The Rozier stuff is the worst of this. And this brings us to the next story about player props. And we're going to talk about this in our poll question. Should this be allowed? And we've talked about the Cleveland Guardians and the pitcher that threw the ball, Arias. Am I getting that name right? So if the quick recap of that story is that a lot of money was put on him throwing his first pitch of the 3rd inning to be a ball, and this is somebody with pinpoint accuracy. And I joked that he threw it into the bullpen, that it was not even close.
Yeah,
he's out of league, can't get into any baseball league actually. So The big story is that it's putting doubt into the legitimacy of these games. The legitimacy of are they being played on the up and up? We talked about the Patriots referee the other day, last week with the Saints on that should be investigated because it was so egregious that call. And this is not helping. This story in the NBA is not helping. And I can't tell you with 100% certainty that a game being played today is going to be on the up and up. I can't. That somebody on there is not manipulating the system for betting purposes. What are your thoughts?
I mean, my thoughts is, with the prop bet with the individual, obviously, if you're Terry Rozier, what can you control? You can control yourself. So, right. So what I want to know, and I know it's going to come out, but like, how much money is Terry making by doing what he needs to do so that the bettors can win the money?
So that did come. One of the games that he was supposedly did this, $200,000. That he got $200,000 to do this.
Sure, for that. So what? And then I guess my other point is that if Terry's doing it, I'm turning more into the Mike Danae conspiracy theorist guy. But how many other players are doing similar things? And then we're not just picking up on it yet. But gosh, with this investigation, is there anyone that on the Celtics that did this? Is there, any other star players? Does LeBron James do this? I mean, right now there's no evidence of that, but what is out there and where is this going to go? My buddy said to me, he said, and I said this off air, this is just the tip of the iceberg with the NBA. And then they're going to start taking a look at the other leagues. And, we've, like you said, Mike, we've talked about the NFL, we've talked about the MLB, is this happening in other sporting leagues? And sadly, the answer probably is yes. So, it goes back to that. It goes back to the whole thing with the FanDuel and Sports King, and all of the betting and
drafting.
Sorry, drafting. My bad. And all of the legalized betting. Is it really good for professional sports? And right now the answer probably is no, it isn't.
I'll bet you there's some remorse, buyer's remorse for some of these leagues being so connected now into these gambling things. I know money talks and but the games are being called into question, and we've seen this now over the last 2 weeks. The investigations that have happening, and now you're getting indictments, and the feds don't indict people unless they have the goods on them. They don't go through that. I saw a stat that 90% of federal, if you're indicted by the feds, there's a 90% chance that you're going to plead out.
Yeah.
A 90%. It's like 0.1 if you're going to be found not guilty.
Yeah, which means you're guilty, right? So, and how about the other pieces? Looking at, so the fact that the FBI, the feds got involved, and we have these indictments and these arrests. The NBA, going back, they did their investigation. The NBA is not an organization that investigates people. I mean, it even makes the NBA look worse by saying, we looked into it, we checked on it, and everything's on the up and up. I mean, come on. I mean, so now is the FBI going to now become involved with all major sports teams as far as looking into indicting athletes?
Maybe. I mean, the gambling. We saw the feds get involved with steroids because a question to these are $1 billion entities, and would the NBA? I mean, would the federal government get involved with Tesla if they weren't doing things on the up and up? They would,
of course,
because they're $1 billion entity, and I think the same thing happens with the NFL, and the same thing's going to happen with the Major League Baseball and so on. If there's questions on whether these things are being played on an honest level, they're going to get involved.
Every single thing now, every single thing that happens in whatever sport you're watching, everybody now, the casual fan to the diehard fan is going to be like, oh, is this a result of betting? Is this being impacted? Is the player, did the player really get injured? Did the player really miss that shot? It's always going to go back to, is this because there was a bet?
Think about how easy it, if you're a wide receiver in the National Football League, and they, the over-under is 1 touchdown, whatever, and you pull a hamstring, which happens all the time in the NFL. Guys pull hamstring, and so you don't think twice about it. Says, yeah, it happens. Now, did it happen? Is it real?
Is he really injured?
So I think, Charlie, that cuts to the heart of the whole argument, is that people now are going to question, did my team really lose, or was it was there outside influence that caused them to lose?
Right.
And so now I don't necessarily believe in the league, or I don't want to put bets down. Which brings us to our poll question of the week, and it's simple: should player prop bets be eliminated? I said that right, Doug. Right? Is that what we decided on?
Individual player prop bets be eliminated. Yep.
Should individual player prop bets be eliminated? In other words, should you be able to bet over unders on number of rebounds, number of shots, number of goals scored, number of touchdowns, number of tackles, number of catches, number of 3-pointers, whatever it is, individual. So, or even in the in-game betting, should you be able to bet on throwing a strike on the first pitch of the third inning? Anything that's individual, that could be controlled by an individual, not the team, but by an individual. Should you be able to bet on that? So it's going to be a yes or no question on Facebook and on X.
X, not Facebook, just X.
Oh, just X on that one?
Just X.
Okay, just X. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what people are thinking on that. I'm for it. I think that we should get rid of it. I think that these individual stuff we should get rid of, which now brings in the question about fantasy. Is fantasy, because fantasy points are based on individual stat lines, or is that different? Is that a different thing?
I don't think it's different. I mean, fantasy is big money. I mean, it's not. I mean, I play fantasy. I mean, in the league I'm in, the winner gets like $50. That's not big money. But yeah, I think it impacts fantasy, and that this is, I don't know. I mean, it's $1 million, right? Fantasy's got to be $1 million business. I think it impacts
billion.
Yeah, billion. Okay, it impacts fantasy, and fantasy football is the same thing, because that's based on individual stats.
But the point values for fantasy is not just on rebounds or not just on catches. It's an overall performance value. And I'm not aware of anything that you can bet on just one individual player's fantasy points. You still have to, lineups,
it's your team. Yeah, it's your team.
So,
but my concern is still that maybe this will come up. Maybe they're investigating that, because I think that there's certainly an impact that someone could have with your fantasy points. I mean, if you had Terry Rozier on your fantasy basketball team, I mean, that's maybe not a good thing for you.
No, I agree, but it's just not that individual controlling. It's still dealing with a team. All right, we're going to go to a break. We'll come back with some trivia.
News, information, and discussion. This is 107.6.
I want to ask, Dog, can you hear me? Dog, can you hear me? We can hear him, but it's different now. It's all muddled. I don't hear him clearly anymore. Do you?
No.
Can you hear us?
Mm-hmm.
So you're coming through different than you used to. You're coming through very muddled when you speak to the car. And when we listen to the radio, it used to come through the feed. Now we're hearing the speaker that's in your studio, and that's how we're hearing things. And when you speak into the mic, it's all muddled for us. Anyway, so can you think about what's different than it was? No? Okay. And the other piece of it, we hear everything. Everything that goes on in that studio, we hear. But before, it wasn't like that before. It was just when you talked. So yeah, we could hear somebody calling. We could that. We can hear everything. Where are we going? Trivia, and then Celtics and Bruins. Trivia, Celtics, and Bruins, and then we'll save Patriots for last. What was last week's poll question?
Hi, I'm Scott with Bangor Wealth Management of New Hampshire. People often ask me, is my future secure? Here are some questions I ask in return. What are you trying to accomplish? How do you feel about it? How do you decide who to trust? When you think about it, we could all use a few more answers. Let's make a plan that works for you. Visit bangor.com/wealth.
Get in touch with the show anytime at thepulseofnh.com and on the free to download Pulse of NH app. Now, back to Mike and the Haas on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Mike and the Haas, Sports Talk Classics, New England Magic broadcast fantastic. Ball crew with the echo screaming, coaches chasing the dream.
I have the hat on that goes with that music, so
Yeah, you do.
we should run with that.
You kind of look, you look a little bit like Eminem. I could tell.
I did. I feel it. Let's get to some trivia, Charlie. 603-228-2080. Then we got to talk about last week's poll question, and then quickly we're going to talk about Celtics and Bruins. So,
All right.
Go for it.
All right. This week's trivia is sponsored by Lucas Roasting Company. Lucas Roasting Company, located on King Street in beautiful Back Bay, Wolfboro. They serve delicious coffee, tea, espresso, and lattes. Lucas Roasting was voted the best coffee in New Hampshire in 2020, 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. They even roast their own coffee inside their cafe. Lucas Roasting offers over 40 different single origins and blends of coffee. Lucas Roasting can handle personal and large business orders. Stop by their cafe on King Street in Wolfboro or order online to have coffee shipped right to your door. The cafe is open Wednesday through Saturday, 7 to 3, or visit lucasroasting.com anytime. So you're going to get a chance to win an electronic gift card from Lucas Roasting, 603-228-2080. That's 603-228-2080. Today's trivia question: name the last National League team to repeat as World Series champions. Name the last National League team to repeat as World Series champions. If you know, 603-228-2080. That's 603-228-080 to win a Lucas Roasting gift card.
All right, let's do our last week's poll question when we come back from the next break, because we're going to talk about football then. I want to touch quickly while we wait for the phone to ring about the Celtics start and the Bruins start. The Celtics are off to an 0-2 start, and I think I'm coming away with two thoughts on this. One major one is that I think Joe Mazzulla is getting exposed as a less than average coach. And that's probably being kind. You know, when it's not difficult to coach when you have the best lineup in the league. I think what you see is like Spoelstra doing down in Miami. That's coaching. Yes, say it again.
Spoelstra, Eric Spoelstra.
Spoelstra. That's coaching, because he hasn't, everybody thought that when he had Wade and LeBron and everything like that, that it was the talent, which it obviously was. But when he doesn't have those guys, he's still coaching. Mazzulla is off to a rough start. And indicated by the first night, they have a chance to go up at the end of the game, and they draw plays for Peyton Pritchard twice to get the ball. How do you not draw up a play for Jaylen Brown? I don't understand that. I think that Scal called it out. We talked about Brian Scalabrine and what his thoughts are on the beginning of this team, beginning of the season for this team. He had mentioned 50 wins without Tatum. No chance. No chance. The over-under for Vegas is 41, and I think I was over, but now I'm questioning that based on that start and how they look, and the lack of coaching, lack of passing, the lack of coaching. I think Mazzulla is getting exposed. Your thoughts quickly on the Celtics?
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. You're right, Mike. I mean, with Scal talking about maybe a 50-win team, talking about not having Tatum, talking about will Tatum return for the playoffs, and then Brian Scalabrine was funny. He's like, playoffs? Come on. Right. These guys, when it comes playoff time, they're going to be on the outside looking in. I mean, an 0-2 start. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's Crisisville, I would say, for the Boston Celtics right now. I don't know if they're going to have the opportunity to right the ship, because I don't think they have the talent to be able to do that. Not. I don't mean just the five starters. The five starters are obviously quite good. That being said, they don't have the bench. They don't have anyone to go to. Their bench has been decimated. They don't have what they've had the past few years. So I don't necessarily see the Celtics probably winning more than 45 games.
I think you're missing the boat. I think this is about Missoula. I think they have plenty of
Is
talent
that
on that
coaching?
team.
I don't know. No, if you look at the
know,
bench, they don't have the talent that they've had in the past.
D. White, Jalen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser are all legitimate players in the NBA. They have the players to win, not win a championship, but they have the players to get to 45, 50 games.
So what you're saying is you
Win.
think they have the players to make the playoffs, the play-in game.
I think they have plenty of players to make the playoffs. If you go across the league, and look at how decimated some of those 7 and 8 seeds are, the Celtics have better players than that. But the coaching is where I think it's getting exposed, because the players are that they have are mid-average, give or take, and so it takes coaching. And I don't think they have the coaching. So I think that's getting exposed.
Speaking of coaching, speaking of coaching with the Celtics, did you see who visited the other day? Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau was visiting with the Celtics. Wouldn't that be a great addition? If you could get Thibodeau back on the bench for the Celtics, because he was obviously there in some of the glory years, that would be amazing. I mean, he's a heck of a coach to get him back. So, I mean, I don't know if that's going to come to fruition, but if you could at least surround Missoula with someone as talented as Tom Thibodeau, maybe, based on your theory, Mike, that could change things.
I think they run such completely different systems. I don't think it would be a mesh. And right now, Missoula is pretty pig-headed about what he's trying to do, which is nothing. Real quickly,
right now, Missoula is just trying to run, and it's like that's not gonna get you wins.
Bruins 6 losses in a row right now. They're 3-6. I mean, the only positive about it is that most of them are one goal losses, which is good. So they're in the games, but I think it's arguably Jeremy Swayman is probably the worst contract in the league right now. And you're paying a guy in top 5 goalie money who is playing at a level of bottom of the bottom. And this is 2 years in a row. They thought it was a start last year, and the lack of off season, That's not the case. The guy sucks. Yeah. And I think you're seeing that. And so, you're going to see the Bees probably lose by 3 today to the Colorado Avalanche. The pregame's 2:30, Dog, or is the puck drop? So pregame 2:30, puck drop at 3 o'clock. You can listen to that in the Pulse of New Hampshire. Charlie, you want to read the trivia one more quick time before we go?
Name the last National League team, so the last NL team, to repeat as World Series champions. 603-228-2080. That's 603-228-2080 for a chance to win a Lucas Roasting Company
we'll be right back.
gift card.
107.7 WTPL, the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Yeah, they asked us to come back. We said we would. So we'll see what happens. Yep.
FIES.com. You're listening to the Granite State's own Mike Nahas on the pulse of the
With the snow gets tossed, socks packed with a swagger of floss.
I have the hat. We might as well We might as well go with the wrap because I got the hat. Hey, look at that. You had Tony Soprano on there and his gambling addiction. If you were watching the live feed, Facebook or YouTube, James Gandolfini he went away from us too soon. Great actor, and I loved everything that he was in. Good, and Tony Soprano is an all-time character.
Absolutely. So I think before we jump back in, Mike, I think we should apologize to our listeners. Heard a dog blow its nose. They hear you chomp your peanuts, which absolutely drives the entire world crazy. And
No, it doesn't. It does not.
They of course heard me chugging my water. So apologies to all of our listeners on YouTube and Facebook. We promise now during breaks
protein.
we will
Plant-based
just don't eat them
protein.
on air, and I don't eat them when I want to annoy my partner, which apparently you like to do. So,
I do. I do like to do that. Last week we did a poll question around challenges in the NFL.
It was.
Dog, what was
Should
it?
there
How
be
were the
coaches' challenges for penalties in the NFL? 100% yes. That was on Pulse of NHL on X. 100% yes. There should be. People are saying there should be coaches' challenges for penalties in the NFL.
The one against the Patriots is the one that had with the Saints game. Is the one that seemed to create a lot of traction for this. And if there would have been challenges, and Vrabel would have challenged that call, the Patriots would have won the challenge, and that would not have become a story for the NFL. They wouldn't have. It would not have been a story if he had the ability to challenge, and the NFL probably is looking at it that way. Speaking of our New England Patriots, they are 5-2. They are the second seed in the AFC. They're on a 4-game winning streak. Drake May is probably playing better than any quarterback in the league, arguably playing better than any quarterback in the league. Sick efficiency, 9 games, he has 12 touchdowns, 5 games, 12 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. There's not enough accolades that you could say for the way that Drake May is playing. And did the Patriots step in it again? Do they get lucky once again and find that franchise quarterback again?
Yeah.
The New York Jets have been looking for their franchise quarterback since Kenny O'Brien. So have they actually found another franchise quarterback?
I mean, I think the answer potentially could be yes. I don't know yet. Yes, I'm going to kind of cautiously say yes, they have. But I also give a lot of credit, Mike, to the coaching staff, the coaching around him, the way that they are treating Drake May and bringing him through the system, creating a system for him to be successful. Josh McDaniels. One of the things you had put on our notes, Mike, talking about and one of the things that both of us agree with, the schedule, right? Because they have a super easy schedule, especially to start the season. But then you had number 2, you had Drake May, and I disagreed with you. I mean, I think Drake May is amazing, but I had Vrabel, and then I had actually Josh McDaniels, and then May, and I think that's such an important part. With you have the quarterback, you have kind of the kid that's kind of has the complete package, and he's putting it together.
I don't disagree with that, but would the Patriots be 5-2 and will look like a genius if Josh Dobbs
Yeah, probably
was
not.
the quarterback
Probably
for the team?
Yeah.
Okay, so then, and I'll go back to it. I think that you have the stud at quarterback, and that league. And this is going to be a topic I want to do next week. That league is so driven about the quarterback now. It's all about the quarterback. But anyway, we got to get the picks.
Do you give? Can I? Yeah, we will. But I want to ask one quick question. Do you give some credit to Diggs though? Diggs is playing not only exceptionally well, but Diggs' attitude is positive. Diggs is a good team
Yeah, but I don't
member
give
for
it
the
credit.
Patriots.
I don't give him credit. I mean, that shouldn't be that expected that you expect somebody to do that. And I'd like to. I mean, Diggs is probably responsible for a win. He probably is, but I would like to think that they bring in, another diva receiver. I think that probably would be the case. So, all right, Charlie, you had a good week last week. You were 5-0. Overall, 24-11 for me, 21-14, and 21-14 for the two of you. So the first game this week is going to be the Bills at the Panthers. I didn't think this would be a game. There's the potential to be a game. The question is, do the Bills right the ship, or do the Panthers keep rolling? So because I'm in first place, dramatic pause, I'm going to go with the Bills. I think they will right the ship, at least not bad enough for the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if Mike had gone 5-0 this week, we'd have to have an entire segment celebrating his 5-0 and amazing pick. So thanks for.
I acknowledge it. I acknowledge it.
And Charlie was 5-0, kind of just like that.
We're on the
he was
clock here.
5-0. Okay, the Bills are going to beat the Panthers.
Dog.
Bills.
Okay. Watch out in Buffalo if they lose.
Yeah.
Seriously. The Cowboys at 3-3, best offense in the league. At the Broncos, 5-2, one of the best defenses in the league. Mile High Stadium. The Broncos had that big comeback win last week against the Giants. I like the Cowboys in this game.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't even take into consideration Mile High, the air is thin.
I like the Cowboys. Dog.
Broncos.
The Packers at 4-1 against the Steelers 4-2. A little Aaron Rodgers bowl. They're in Pittsburgh. I don't believe in the Steelers. I'm going Pack.
I mean, Dog, his eyes just lit up. He loves his Packers. And you know what? The Green Bay Packers, baby, they're going to win on the road.
They have not won in Pittsburgh since December of 1970. They will win tomorrow night, Sunday Night Football, NBC.
All right. Commanders at the Chiefs. Commanders at 3-4. Chiefs 4-3. Jaden Daniels is not going to play in this thing. I'm going to KC.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are starting to get their role.
This is the Monday
and,
Night Football
the Chiefs are gonna
game,
beat the
guys.
Commanders.
Prime time Pat is back. Chiefs.
All right. Lastly, the Browns at the Patriots. I think the Patriots keep rolling against the Browns. I think it's going to be a tough one, though, but I like
The Patriots are
them
going to end
against-
up 6-2. Patriots all the way.
Miles Garrett with the game-winning sack at the end.
Wow.
The Browns in an upset. This
Wow.
is a
All right. That's pretty good. Dogs waving us by. So thanks for listening. The answer to trivia, Charlie, real quick.
It was the Cincinnati Reds, 1975, 1976.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a great week.